Hello, and this is the North American Snow Queen, MicheleMarieDalene, talking about, for the most part, the climate. My job as a North American Snow Queen, like I said in the first video, is from December 21st to March 20th of every year. During this time, it's winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. The winter of 2010 to 2011 season was my first year as working with winter weather in the New England area. Originally, I was an intern, and as an intern, I had primarily the responsibility for New England. Talking to a few other people outside of the New England area, there was a lot of concern that the Midwest needed snow and precipitation, and so I got a dispensation to go ahead and give the people in the Midwest their snow and precipitation that they needed. Unfortunately, snow is not necessarily the great solution, because of the fact that snow, it takes a lot of snow to equal the same amount of rain. But that's not the point I'm going to talk about, is that. What I'm trying to get at here is several scientists are looking at the trend. Oh, Al Gore will be happy to know this. Yes, because of the fact that the Arctic ice is melting, and the Antarctic ice is also melting as well. That is adding a lot of fresh water to the northern and southern poles, which is, unfortunately, it has a habit of shutting down the thermohaline circulation. In the United States, we know it as the Gulf Stream, which is only one leg of it. This is creating a problem, because if there's too much fresh water in the poles, the thermohaline circulation, which comes from two words. The first one is thermo, which is heat, and the second word is haline, which has to do towards salt, which means it's a system that's based on heat and salt salinity. The thermohaline circulation is shutting down. Here in the New England area, we had a cold, hard, bitter winters. Because as the northern air and water gets colder, everything else starts to get colder in our area. It begins to cause the temperature drop. Now remember the one thing, please folks, this is important for those of you who are at least somewhat familiar with climatology, is the only difference between the weather we're having now and an ice age is a matter of 6 to 9 degrees Celsius. That's all it is. 6 to 9 degrees Celsius. Right now, the Earth has been pretty balmy. It's about 33 degrees Celsius average for the Earth overall. However, so obviously if the temperature drops down by 6 to 9 degrees, we will start to see the beginning of a glaciation period. We are right now at the end of an interglacial. An interglacial lasts about 20,000 years, and then we have the ice ages, which last 80,000 years. So, as we get into these weather events, and 2012 is already coming up to be a major concern, we'll need to discuss the environment, because it's 2012, December 21st, is in the beginning of my winter cycle. And I want to first of all express my concern that I don't want somebody to point fingers at me and say, it's your damn fault. No, it's not. Not the 2012 issue, no. However, I am rooting for the cold weather, because I know it is important for us to prepare for it. Winter is something we can all prepare for. That means that you need to have a heavy jacket. Cotton is not going to cut it here. We need something like wool, or some of the better synthetics designed to keep the heat in and also allow the moisture of the body to also wick out. In other words, actually preferably keep it in, because you want to keep heat in and moisture in so you can stay warm. So it makes sense to dress in layers. And most important of all is common sense. If you see a thermometer of your house says it's 0 degrees Celsius and there's no electricity and you're freezing, no pun intended, if you've got alternative heating systems, it is best to make sure that those alternative heating systems have been properly checked, make sure they're installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions, and of course, exercise care around pets and children, especially if it's something like a freestanding kerosene heater or a propane heater. Also want to explain to you what I do and how it works, because it probably is going to amaze a lot of you that a lot of what I do involves prayer and sorcery. Sorcery is not exactly the same thing as candle magic, because one thing, it's the use of power. It's the use of the elementals to get results. Now, there's several kinds of sorcery. The sorcery we're talking about is in balance with nature. We call it white sorcery. And that is, it's sorcery that is intended not to cause undue harm and damage to anybody, but rather is to keep in balance with the natural order of things. Now, black sorcery is clearly the opposite, where you want to go ahead and do as much hit points of damage as you can to someone, probably because of self-aggrandizement. But in this case, we're not talking about self-aggrandizement. We're talking about trying to balance the weather and trying to keep things operating as smoothly as possible. Now, since these interglacials do occur every 20,000, each one is an anti-air, which is about 20,000 years long. During the last major ice age, humanity almost was wiped off the face of the earth. And I bring that up is that ever since the very early age of man, we've always had a belief in something that's more greater than ourselves. And that's because we always felt that there was somebody. We can't ever explain it, but it was certainly a really clear evidence that there was something or someone that we felt was watching over our well-being. And therefore, our faith in gods was the beginning. Now, the god and the goddess, Yahweh and Asna, are of course still watching over us, as is our spirit guides and many others on the other side. Even as 2012 approaches, they are preparing for you and me, and for anybody who needs their protection, which is everybody. So I say is, your faith is going to be the most important thing you got. So keep that in mind. Do not panic. Relax. Do your best to prepare. We might lose power for years. They can't help that. So plan ahead. We may have a shortage of food because of the power outages. Prepare for that. I don't know about all the other issues I've heard of, but we prepare for the things that we can and leave the rest up to the great God and Goddess to deal with. That's all we can do. Thank you very much for listening and watching this short diatribe. And I also apologize that in my second video I was basically akimbo and put my arms everything everywhere. That's because I have Asperger's. For me to sit this still is almost torture. I'm used to being very expressive with my hands, and but I felt that this was an important video to try to address the issues that affect us. I hope to hear from you soon. Please don't be afraid to leave comments. I would certainly love to hear them. And In addition to that, I want you to know that you can email me, and you can also, of course, mail me via the U.S. Postal Service as well. The addresses are in the end of this video, but if you really can't read them, or if you listen to this on your radio in your car and you don't hear it, you can't see it, here's the addresses. You want to email me, it's B as in boy, ICHELA3 @yahoo.com, or you can send a letter to self-addressed stepped envelope if you're looking for a reply to MicheleMarieDalene. That's MicheleMarie, D as in dog, ALENE, 112 Main Street. It's 112 space MAIN Street, ST, apartment number 9, Winsted, WINSTED, Connecticut, CT, and the zip code is 06098. For those of you who are in the Winsted area, I also do a radio program called Michelle in the Evening, which is on Pink Rose Radio at AM 16, a Part 15 radio station that I operate from this living room where I'm doing this video. So, good luck with your pursuits, but just keep the faith and keep looking up to the great God and Goddess, because they love you and they'll protect you and keep you safe. Good day.